Hey everybody, it's Terry with Millendale Designs. We're going to try this again. I think we've got our internet problem fixed, and always challenges when you're in business. You just roll with it and hope everything works this time. I'm Terry Marshall again with Millendale Designs, and this is David, my husband.
Good evening again.
And he is going to be off camera for a little bit monitoring the comments, and occasionally he may ask me something and I'll respond back. If you do have a question, post it in the comments, and at the end of the video, after it's posted, I will go back and review those questions if I didn't get to it during the live feed. So go ahead and ask those questions or comments if you have comments about what we're going to go through today. I just want to quickly go through all the things. I've got some bullet points that I want to cover with you about the stemming machine and give you some tips on how I use it, the different ways that we can utilize it. So let's get started. He's going to go take his spot.
And I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to talk a little bit about the maintenance of the unit, show you some key points to maintain it, talk about the oiling, etc. But that won't take very long. Looking forward to everybody enjoying the video.
Okay. So he's going to do all that mechanical stuff at the end, and that'll help us from a guy's standpoint. But you can do it too, the ladies. All right. The stemming machine was created, the patent shows that it was created in 1935. So it's been around for a long time, and I know it's a staple in the floral industry. I've only been in business since 2011. I did not have a pick machine the first couple of years. And I managed to do okay, but once I really got serious about my business and wanted to speed my processes up and increase my stability in my designs and make sure that they were well constructed, then I got the pick machine. So this is Syndicate Sales puts this particular one out, the steel picks. It weighs about 8 pounds. It's cast iron, so it's extremely heavy. The pick sizes that are available for this machine are 3-inch, which is really a long one, and then there's a 2 1/8 inch, which is this box that I have here, and then there's a 1 3/4 inch length as well. This is the sort of standard pick size that we use, and I got these at Hobby Lobby. You can get them on Amazon. They run about $12.99. Use your coupon if you're at Hobby Lobby. So that's what these are. And I'll show you how to load everything in a little bit. The basic operation of the pick machine is easy. The main thing that I'll use it for, of course, is for my floral stems. Now, I love breaking apart my stems, and the pick machine comes in real handy when you're trying to break things apart. So I could put this entire stem into my grapevine or into a flower arrangement, but let's say I just want part of it. So I'm just going to rip that apart. Now, you can see this is sort of it is a wire going here, and it's not very stable. If I wanted to put that into floral foam or into a grapevine, it would probably be okay, but it's a little bit flimsy in my opinion. So let's say I even wanted to take this down even further, and I wanted just one of these pieces. So you can see now I've broken that down to even a smaller stem size. Now I could go ahead and pick this one, and it would go great into whatever I'm working on, and that's one way to use it. You can also make your own pick combos, and this is really great if you want to, say for instance, use this little piece, and I've got some Nandina bushes, and if I wanted to create my own pick by putting 2 or 3 pieces together, let me pull another one of these off. It doesn't limit you to just using the way this pick came. This is the way it came, but look, I want to put maybe some other greenery with it. So I've pulled several little pieces apart. I'm going to trim them all the same length. And then I'm going to lay this into the pick machine, and dispense this pick and use it. Put all three of those things in there at the same time. And now I've created my own pick. This is how it started, and this was my redesign, okay? That's a great way for you to create your own unique style and your own creations this way by changing it up. So I think that's kind of pretty. I mean, this one's fine, but that way I can go ahead and put this into whatever I'm going to be using as far as my design, either an arrangement or with a wreath or whatever you're going to use it on. Okay, when you put a pick without, or you put a floral stem without a pick on the end into floral foam. Now this is floral foam that is primarily used for fresh flowers. It's that real powdery, soft type foam, and it absorbs water. People that are doing fresh flower designs, florists, will use this because it will keep the water in the flowers fresh. But let's say you're going to put something in that. This is the one I use primarily for silk flowers, and that's that hard styrofoam, okay? If you're just going to put, let me get just a stem. Well, especially if you're using this foam, I don't recommend you use this foam, but let's say you're just going to stick that in there without a pick on it. With it being so soft, after a while, a lot of movement with this, it will ream out a hole, and it's not going to hold it. Even on the harder foam, if you stuck it in there, this is better. This is much better. But over time, if you move this around, or you say it's in a wreath and you're selling this to a customer and they move it from their storage to the attic, to the garage, to the front door and around, over time, some of those picks may work themselves loose even though you have glue in there. So what happens when you use the pick, however, is these ridges, these jagged serrations here on the pick themselves give you that extra stability that you're going to need when you put your flower arrangement together. And with glue, this is not coming out. I promise it won't. It'd have to really be something major for it to come apart. And then on a grapevine wreath, if you put this in a grapevine, of course, I'm going to pretend I put glue on this. And you put it on a grapevine and push it in there. It gives you the ability to then go in and bend that pick around. See, there it is. And then I just take my needle nose and bend it around the grapevine. Now you can give it a shot of glue. Again, construction techniques are so important, especially if you're selling these. If you're doing it for yourself, no big deal. You can stick something back in there if it falls apart at your home. But if this is going to Indiana to someone who paid money for it, you want that pick to be extremely stable. Okay?
We've got some friends joining us. Brenda Bracken.
Yeah.
And an old friend, not old, young, very old, young at heart, Pam Burrow.
Oh, hi, Pam.
And Damon Oates is back with us. Thanks again.
Awesome.
And anybody else on there, let us know where you're from and if you're watching.
Yep.
I'd like to hear from you.
Okay, so those are a couple of ways that you can use the pick machine for placement of florals into foam or wreath designs. Okay, and next week I'm going to do a tutorial on using the pick machine with a deco mesh wreath, and there's a certain way that I do that. So we'll not cover that this evening. We're going to go into that next week when I do a full tutorial on a deco project. Okay, if you've got variations of ribbon that you want to use in your designs, one of the ways that I do like to use the pick machine is to grab some ribbon. These are just some scraps that I pulled out. All right. Oh gosh, Damon's having a floral emergency. Call 911. Okay, I'm just going to cut a piece of this ribbon And usually I think what people do is around 10 to 12 inches. I'll just do 10. So I'm going to chevron this one end. Now, I want to put this piece of ribbon in that grapevine behind these flowers. And I might even put several pieces of ribbon together to form a nice little display of color. Alright, now what I like to do is go ahead and just gather, the chevron end is here, the opposite end I'm just going to gather those pieces together, okay, and then I'm going to lay them in the pick machine. I'm going to dispense a pick. This one, I'm at the end of my picks. I didn't load it up because I want to show you how to load it. Lay that in there. Go ahead and give it a good squeeze and then release it. So then you have this. Alright, the ribbon is caught in there really nice. Put it in some glue. Use your glue pen. I don't have mine hooked up right at this moment. And then you can take these, and it gives you really some great versatility in placement. And you can use that technique. Okay, so I'm just going to bend that back like I did on the floral pick. Back onto the grapevine. So that's one way to use ribbon. Now, depending on the thickness of your ribbon, you could put another piece of another color in here, and it would work great. If you get burlap, some of those would be a little thicker, and you may not be able to do it with a pick. But look, that's not going anywhere. That's in there. I know this doesn't look pretty. I'm just giving you functionality right now, okay? Let's see. So, if you wanted to put tails, if you were going to do a terry bow, and I do this all the time, or any kind of bow that you're going to put, say, on a wreath, and I wanted these to be tails coming out. And hand me that bow right there, sweetie. And I know,
you got it for?
Yeah, I know this does not match with what I'm working on, but and this is not a terry bow. Go figure. I actually can do other bows besides terry bows. So I'm going to turn that over and pretend this is a new. So we've got that there, and say I wanted to put tails underneath here of that same ribbon, okay, and I wanted to add some more tails, then the same thing that we did with the ribbon pieces, you just gather these ends.
While you're doing that, Australia is back with us again. Yay, Debbie Hill.
Hi. And then just dispense that pick and then give it a squeeze. And then once you have your bow up there, you can push this pick in under your bow and then cut your tails. I know that looks tacky, and probably somebody's going to come on and go, she doesn't know how to match her colors. Look how ugly that is.
That's another tutorial.
I can't get to my red, white, and blue ribbon, or I would do it with that. But these, again, are just mechanical demonstrations, so I'm not going for the color. Push it up under your bow. Push it up under your bow, and then you'll trim your tails however long you want. You have a lot of flexibility on how to do that. Now, this design that I did here, see the loop that's going from here down to the other terry bow, that was simply me putting a pick on that ribbon, pushing it under the top terry bow, getting a nice loop, and then another pick and pushing it down behind the second bow. And so it gives you a way to put that in there nicely. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so that's ribbon. All right, let's see, let's move that one. I think somebody's looking for this ribbon. Did I dream that? Somebody in our group maybe is looking for this, begging for this ribbon.
How bad do they want it?
I don't know. I may have some. I have to go look. All right. Okay, so one of the other things that I like to do with the pick machine is put embellishments on the wreath itself. So I've got a couple of examples, like in this particular design, I use the star. And if you want to place your star, this one's kind of messed up, but I'm going to just use it as an example. All right. But the way I put that star in there is I use my pick machine with a stem. Okay, so this stem is one of those really nice bendable types. Okay. And so what I did is I dispensed a pick, put one on the bottom of this. Okay. I don't need all this length. I'm going to cut some of it off. And then, being extremely careful, because you know these picks are sharp, razor sharp. And this is my front, so I'm going to come in from the back using glue. I don't have my glue pen hooked up. And then you can just take the pick and push it up into that star. This works really great with the styrofoam type elements that you may have. Now, and then you can just bend that wire out. And I usually do two. I would do another one down here. And then push it inside your wreath. If you want it to stick out a little bit and be more three-dimensional, you can do that. You have that flexibility. And then on the back, see it's sticking out. And then you would just crimp that around the back of the wreath. Now, don't freak out if this is green and your grapevine is brown. You can paint it. Just dabs a little bit of brown paint on it. You can cover it with moss, or you could hot glue some leaves or something on top of it to disguise it. Okay? So you see, and that's why I would do two. Do another one down here on the bottom to control the way it's placed in there.
Got a video watcher from Southern Hills in the city of Shreveport, Wade Hampton Marshall.
Hey Wade, give my baby a hug and kiss. Okay.
The baby but the oldest.
Yeah. All right, so that's a way to do an embellishment. And let's say, for example, you want to put a little bird. You can also use a pick. Let's use this green one. Okay, let's dispense a pick on the end of this. I may be running out. No, there they are. Okay. So I'm going to stick the bird with my pick. I usually would put some glue in here too. And just be careful that you're not going to push through to the top of that. And then he's ready to then put in a nest, or you can put it, you know, inside there. Now, and then again, from the back side, just crimp that around however you want to place it. Does that make sense? Hope that does. Okay, so those are elements that you can utilize the pick machine for. It helps if they're soft. You can't do it really with wood. You'd have to drill a hole and put like a screw pick or one of those little eyelet screws. Okay. The next thing is picks. These type of picks. This one in particular is problematic, and this will be a great reason to use a pick on the end. If I were to cut this apart, you see how it's got these little tiny wires coming out. If I were to try to stick that in a grapevine, get rid of this other piece. When this was really first made, this particular pick, it was all completely covered in floral tape. You see that? Well, it's gotten shredded. And I'm really trying to get this to cut. That is some heavy wire. Gracious. I'm going to have to get oh, there it goes. Okay, so now if it were just this main wire that I was going in with, it probably wouldn't create a problem. But let's say I want to see those really tiny wires that are sticking out. For me to put this inside a grapevine, it's gonna, all those little wires are gonna hang up and grab onto things. And it just makes it more difficult. You know, I'm all about streamlining your processes because you want to be more efficient at what you're doing. So here's what I would recommend in this instance. I would cut it off. And see, you still got those wires that are kind of exposed. But if you put a pick on the end, it gives you a solid end piece that you can then put into your design, okay? Same thing if you were trying to put those little wires in floral foam. They're going to get hung up. They're not going to go down as deep as you want them. And so this is a great way to alleviate that problem. And now those little wires are not an issue. So that's on that kind of pick. All right, this one, for example, has a really kind of tiny wire. And again, it could go in, probably no problem. But getting it to stay with just glue, you could bend it around the back. It just, oh, cha-ching, somebody just bought something. It just gives it a little bit more body and you've got more to work with. Okay, so we've talked about the floral stems, making your own pick combos, stem stability, splitting stems, the one we just talked about, the splitting the stems with the little wires. Non-picked, yeah, we talked about how it makes a big hole, you know, working its way around if you put it in that kind of foam. Ribbon tails, hangers, oh, door hangers. Now, if you do hangers on the back of your grapevine wreaths, I don't normally, but on some of my door hangers I do. You can take this grapevine wire, which is available at Hobby Lobby. You can pick it on the ends and then stick this in your grapevine. Bend the pick around at the back and make a nice hanger for your customer, okay? So that's another way to utilize your picks. If you were to try, and you could do it, you know, everything's possible. If you try hard enough, you could take just without a pick on the end, see how this is going to start shredding open, and that wire is going to be exposed. When you try to push it in your grapevine, look what happens. See how that gets pushed away? When you've got a clean edge with the pick on it, it goes straight in. Again, a time saver for you to do it that way. Okay. How to load it. And then I'm going to let David come over and show you about the oiling. And, oh, one other thing. If you want to use spirals on Deco Mesh, this is a 10-inch. You can actually gather the end. I've got one already done. You can roll the end of a piece of this Deco Mesh if you're making a spiral. Squeeze it kind of all together. Lay it in your pick machine. And then give it a squeeze. Ooh, I pushed on it. That's another thing you don't want to do is don't push on your pen like I just did on my pick. Lay it in there straight from the top. And somehow I pushed on it the wrong way. Okay, so now you've got the pick on the end of this swirl. And remember on the bunny that we did, I used picks with the Deco Mesh, but this would be a great way to put those in there. That way. if you tried to put deco mesh in there by itself, not so good. It's not gonna work so good. I mean, you gotta gather it up, you gotta put glue, you gotta try to push it in there. And this is if you're not using a work wreath form, if you wanted to do that. Okay, those were primarily the ways that I wanted to show you. To me, the biggest thing is that you can combine your elements like so. So if you didn't like this greenery, which I don't like these leaves so much, I'll get rid of those. And I'm going to put it with some ficus. Okay. And maybe a little piece of Nandina bush. Lay those 3 pieces in your pick machine. And you created your own stem. Now the possibilities are endless on how you could do that. All right, that's my favorite way to use it. Okay, how to load it. Let's talk about that, and then I'm going to get David to show you the oiling process.
Let's kind of turn it toward
the camera so they can take a look at
See
it.
the guts?
See how the loading goes.
Yeah, let me get these old pins out. Now, one thing I have, and it's a real handy tool.
Magnet.
It broke. I need a new one.
That's all you need.
I know, but I need a new one because I
Okay.
like the long one.
Okay. Okay.
This is a little magnet, and it helps really to get those picks that are kind of buried down in there when you try to take them out. See, look. And the other things, these are sharp. I mean, the picks are sharp. This keeps you from having to.
And doesn't the pick machine work better whenever it's kind of fully loaded instead of one or two picks?
It does.
Here's a sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a solid piece of metal, but those are individual picks.
Right.
And that's what we're fixing to show you how to load.
Okay. So when you look at your, it's got a little plastic sleeve on it that keeps them bundled together. Otherwise, you're going to have 52 card pickup or however many picks these are. There's an indentation right here, and there's a curved place on the bottom. All right, the indentation is going to be at the top, and
You
then
want to take the plastic off?
not till we get it in there.
I know. I was just seeing if you knew.
Have you ever done it without?
I've never done it.
Do you want to try it?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's
Oh,
gonna
not
mess,
without. No.
It's gonna mess it all up. Okay, so we're gonna put them in here, and then the first. Okay, these have little teeth. 1, 2, 3 are on the outside of this. So 1, 2, 3, go down. Okay, then you put your weight on top. And I don't know what this is called. Do you?
Pick.
Something I stole from your shop. So, okay. So then I take this little thing. You can use a screwdriver. And then I go in and just pop that plastic and pull it out. I'll say I did.
This is live TV, so nothing works
Okay.
right.
No, it did. It worked. I'm just glad the internet's working. Forget the rest. Okay, so that's all there is to loading it. I don't normally put in more than one sleeve at a time. If you did, it'd kind of get this way up here. But that's plenty to work with for a little while. And then, of course, to dispense it, you just pull this forward. Oh, something stuck. Oh, the spring. Well, come on. Come on, baby. You can do it. Oh, you know what it was when I pulled it upside down?
Now it's your push rods off.
Yeah, that's what I said. There. I turned it upside down so it moved that push rod. Okay, so I shouldn't have put all these on there until you did the oiling because we got to turn it upside down. I'm just going to pull them out.
It does look pretty complicated piece of equipment, but keep in mind it was designed years ago and they didn't have as much technology as we do today, obviously, but they designed it well, and there's not that many pieces and parts, but follow the directions and oil it properly. You know, there's a little bit of maintenance to it, but if you're not using a pick machine, you're going to find out real quick that you've been missing out. So I look forward to hearing some comments after y'all.
Yeah, it just speeds up your process, doesn't it? It gives you that ability
Well, I mean,
to go a little bit faster.
Well, that's one thing, but I think at the end of the day, you give the customer a more solid product that
Yeah.
you know it's going to be there for
Your
a long time. You don't have to worry about it.
Your construction is a lot better. Your construction techniques.
If your customer's not calling you back, there's probably a reason. Maybe your components fell out of your reef, and that could be costing you business. So we've had some people in the business that have told us they've never used one in years, and once they found out there was a pick machine available and they started using it,
Yeah,
it's revolutionized what they do.
that's true.
We're not selling pick machines. You can get them anywhere you want to. We're just trying to help
Yeah.
you be a better reefer and hobbyist. So good luck.
And I don't recommend that you take this sucker apart because you can get into some real problems with it if you do. But I do recommend that you oil it at least every 2 to 3 weeks. You're going to give it some oil, and I'm going to let David explain.
Well, it depends on, you don't want to oil it too much. If you think you've used it a lot in 2 or 3 weeks, then you need to oil it. If you haven't used it, then don't be oiling it because you can't oil it too much.
Yeah, and if it starts getting real hard to dispense a pick, or if it's feeding more than one at a time, and you've got problems with it, more than likely it needs to be oiled. So those are all key things to look for if it starts acting up. Okay, so you're going to just use a 3-in-1 household oil. You can get this anywhere. And I'm going to let David show you where those are going to be put.
If you've got a sewing machine and they gave you oil, it's a similar light oil. You can use that. It's a very over the counter type of oil, and comes in a lot of different containers, but it's very, very light. So you've got only really a place on the top. You're going to oil your push rods.
You got to push it forward, and you're going to oil them right in here.
When you pull it back, it's going to leave a gap, and so you're going to let's get it to the camera.
You got to push on this, and then put a little drop on each one of
See
those
the push.
on the push rods. There is a video from Syndicate Sales, and they have really good close-ups. I'll put that in the information.
Well, I don't even know if we're that. Yeah, they're able to see that. These are the push rods, and we're just going to put a little bit of oil, so when it comes back, it'll pull the oil back.
Onto that track. Yep.
Okay, and then
And you
excuse
might
me.
want to kind of push on it just a couple of times to get it to work its way through that channel.
So keep in mind you got 2 push rods and put a little bit on each of the tracks, and then on the bottom side, you got some pivot points here, and then right here, and on each of those shafts, just put a little drop. Don't have to do much. And then come over here, same thing, just a little bit.
So it's basically any of those moving parts that are on the machine itself.
That's about it.
Yeah. And if you're lucky like I am, you got somebody cute to oil it for you.
But I'm here, so.
And then just kind of push on it. These rods have come loose a bit.
And like I say, we're giving a quick maintenance here, but you can get that video, and they go through a little further detail.
It's on YouTube, and it's by Syndicate Sales, who manufactures and ships this to you.
But we don't spend a lot of time doing maintenance on the unit. We had a problem a couple weeks ago, and it was this little spring up here, and we messed with it and got it working again. But in the 2 or 3 or 4 years she had it, we had never had to send it off for repair or replace anything. Just keep oiling.
Yeah, I'm going to try to put a few of these back in there. Okay, that's pretty much it. we've gone through all the ways that I use it. You may come up with some ways that you want to use it besides the ones I have. Lots of different ways to utilize that pick. And we've showed you how to load it, where to put the oil, and I think that's pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah.
You did the best in showing them how to use it on their reefs and their forms. That's the most important thing. Maintenance is got to be done, but it's not a small part of it.
Right. And once in a while, if you have a sewing machine, you know those little brushes that come with a sewing machine, mine was full of glitter, go figure. And so I took one of those brushes that you use on your sewing machine, and I just kind of gave it a nice brush out and tried to, especially this track right here, these little teeth where it squeezes the pick together, was just gobbledygooked with a little bit of glue residue and also some glitter. So once in a while, give it a nice little spa treatment and clean it all out and get the glitter goobies out, and it'll work a lot better for you if it's giving you any trouble. So we're going to close with that. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. We're excited to share this part of our business with you. Make sure that you put in the notifications. If you want to be notified that we're having a Facebook Live, then you can select to be notified. And when we go live, it'll send you a little alert or a notification on Facebook. And that way you can keep up with what we're doing. Next week, I don't have the date set on which night we're going to do the deco mesh. But I'm going to be utilizing my pick machine and showing you how to put florals into a deco mesh with the pick machine. So you don't want to miss that. And I'll be announcing that in the group on our page. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe.
Just want to say, sorry we had trouble at first.
We
Internet
apologize.
connection. We're not sure what happened, but whatever it is, it's corrected itself. So we moved forward, went ahead and started again tonight. We had people, as I called out, from all over the country, including another continent, Australia.
That's
amazing. So
amazing.
cool.
Yeah,
and we have friends in Alaska that have tuned in also.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. I'm done. Are you done?
I'm pretty much done. I think he's going to cook me a steak dinner, so I'm looking forward to that. But we do thank you again for being a part of what we're doing here at Millendale Designs. We love what we do, and I hope that shows through with our videos and how we try to educate you on things as well as just have a little fun with you too. If you have questions, post them there. I'll answer them at the end of the live, and we'll just see you on one day next week. What day are you going to be gone?
I'm not.
Oh, that's last week he was gone. I'll have to check his schedule and see when we can do our next live. But thanks again, and we hope you have a good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.